The Olympic Games, the Premier League, the PGA Tour, Primetime's #1 show, Sunday Night Football, and Super Bowl 56, only on NBC.
Sunday night, we are for everybody in our house. Win your battle. This is our division. Waiting all day for Sunday night. Let's get it.
You thought nothing could surprise you. You thought you'd seen everything, but you never saw me coming. All eyes on me, ready or not.
The Diggs caught, touchdown. The growth is real for Mahomes.
I'm on my way. You can't stop what I got. Ready or not. Down zone, you best get moving. I'm about to change the game.
Congratulations to the Bucs. They won the NFC South.
Ready or not, you can't escape.
Did he make the catch over Diggs? Touchdown.
You can't stop what I got. Ready or not.
Rush, Sunday, Parsons, down to Dallas, touchdown.
For the first time this season, Sunday Night Football comes to you from Texas, and Dallas fans are fired up because they haven't been naughty, they've been nice. They have good reason to be. Dak Prescott and their Cowboys just clinched the division title. So now their sights are set on one thing. That's the #1 seed in the NFC. Meanwhile, it's Taylor Heineke. He was one of several Washington players who missed Tuesday's loss in Philly due to COVID, but he's back tonight and trying to keep his team's playoff hopes alive. Meanwhile, here's how we currently stack up in the NFC. 5 teams have clinched a playoff spot. Dallas just wrapped up the NFC East thanks to the Raiders win, which sealed the tiebreaker for the Cowboys. Hello, everyone, and welcome back inside our studio. I hope everyone had a wonderful holiday. All I wanted for Christmas was to be here with these guys, Tony Dungy and Drew Brees. And here we are. But it's so interesting, guys, because we started the season in Tampa covering Dallas. It was Dak Prescott throwing the ball around 58 times, but they lost to the Bucs by 7. But we've seen them change. We've seen the philosophy change. We've seen a different team over the course of the season. What have you noticed, Drew?
Yeah, who would have thought at this point in the season that we would be talking about the Dallas defense as being the one that's leading this team? You know, at the beginning of the season, it was all about how explosive the offense was and all these question marks on the defensive side. But that's totally flip-flopped. The defense is playing extremely well, and really it's the offense now that's trying to keep up.
Yeah, and because of that defense, now you can be a different team. You don't have to throw it 58 times. You can run the ball, you can play that defense, take advantage of the field position, but you've got to believe in that style of play. I hope they do, because I believe in it. I think Dallas can win that way.
Of course, you're a defensive coach. And now a season ago, they were 28th in scoring defense. This season, they are 7th, so you're right, there's been a change, but that's coming up tonight. We're waiting for kickoff. Let's talk about what we've already seen so far this Sunday. What stood out to you so far?
Well, there were 2 big first-place showdowns in the AFC, and the young quarterbacks took charge. Who goes into New England and wins games late in the year? Well, Josh Allen said, I can do it. He was the man in New England, had a great day, led them to victory. And then Cincinnati, Joe Burrow threw for over 500 yards and I think created some hard feelings with Baltimore.
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah, the big disappointment today, though, how about the LA Chargers? 2 weeks ago, they were playing for a division championship against the Kansas City Chiefs. Instead, they come a week later, they lose that one game, and they lose this game again. And really, it was a result of turnovers. Defensively, they either can't stop the run or they just give up big play after big play. But bottom line, the Chargers are now fighting for that 7th seed if they can still get in.
Drew, I feel like it's the second week in a row you've had to break down a huge upset. And last week, it was the Arizona Cardinals losing to the Lions. This week, it's the Texans with a huge win. But that just means it changes the playoff picture, and that's why we bring in Steve Kornacki to help us really understand it. Steve, what do you have on the AFC?
Hey, Maria, let's dive in and take a look at the Chargers. What is the price of laying an egg against the Texans for the Chargers? It's this. Coming into this week, they were in the 6th spot, and they had a 70% chance of making the playoffs. Coming out of today, look at this. The Chargers have now fallen out of the top 7, and look at this. Their chances of making the playoffs down to 33%, more than cut in half their playoff chances. No one took a bigger hit in the AFC playoff race today than the Los Angeles Chargers. So they're the big loser on the day. One of the big winners on the day, the Cincinnati Bengals. You see, they were in 4th place coming into the week. They're actually now in 3rd, but the big thing for the Bengals, look at this. Basically almost an 80% shot. They make the playoffs by beating Baltimore. They have really solidified their position in the AFC North. But the story of the day in the AFC, it's right here. It's the Buffalo Bills, the new leader in the AFC East, beating the New England Patriots in Foxborough today. Let's dive into that AFC East race. The Bills and the Patriots now both 9-6 coming out of this game today. The Bills, though, with the tiebreaker in the division, and all of a sudden, the Bills' chances of winning the AFC East, they looked bleak a couple weeks ago. 75% chance now the Bills win the AFC East. How could the Patriots still win the division? Well, they got to win out. They got to beat the Jags. They got to go into Miami and win to end the season. That's been tough for the Patriots a few times recently. And then they would need the Bills to lose one of these games, either to the Falcons or the Jets. Both of those teams will be coming to Buffalo to play. Otherwise, if the Bills go 2 for 2, the Bills, after everything that's happened this year, win the AFC East.
All right, Steve isn't going anywhere. All those numbers are courtesy of Pro Football Focus. He's still got to break down the NFC for us. Meanwhile, our Lone Star, he's over there hanging out. We got to get to the best throws of the day. We send it over to Chris Sims.
Yep, I'm all by myself. Yeah, sorry for leaving me again, Maria. I mean, thanks for leaving me, I should say. But yeah, let's get to the best throws. Let's start with Josh Allen and what he did in Buffalo. We had some good ones today. Josh Allen was unreal. He's the greatest one-man show in the sport right now. Yes, breaking all the cardinal rules that you tell a young quarterback to do. Don't throw it across your body deep in the middle of the field. Allen was amazing play after play today in that victory over the New England Patriots. Then you talk about another hot quarterback. Man, this was the story of the game. Joe Burrow dicing up this Ravens defense. Whoever he wanted to throw to, it was big play completions. T. Higgins was the main guy. Almost had 200 yards receiving. That big play right there kind of put Cincinnati Bengals in total control of the football game. Then there's Jalen Hurts. They run the ball great, but they can beat you this way too if you overplay the run game. Yes, it hurts so good, they say, Maria. That's what they say out there. But that was a phenomenal throw. We had a lot of good quarterback play today throughout the NFL, Maria.
I just want everyone to know that we just taught Chris Sims that saying. I'm glad he got it right. All right, let's head down to Arlington, Texas, where they always get it right. We've got Rodney Harrison and Jack Collinsworth hanging out outside of AT&T Stadium.
I'm just glad you guys can teach Sims something, Maria. And Maria, the Cowboys have had the gas pedal down in December, and there is no greater present that they could give a town that lives for football. And Rod, we just saw Josh Allen, some of that wizardry. But why did Mac Jones have one of his worst games today?
Well, you look at the Buffalo Bills defense, and they remember what happened to them earlier in the season when the Patriots flat out embarrassed them. And Buffalo came out, they were aggressive, they played smart, they played physical, and they got after Mac Jones. He was frustrated all day. Micah was outstanding. You look at the line, he had 2 interceptions. You look at the linebackers, they were flying around, tips and overthrows. I just thought they did an excellent job of frustrating Mac Jones.
And New England was a team that had won 7 in a row, but now they've been handled 2 weeks in a row by likely AFC playoff teams. So what would you be thinking right now if you're Bill Belichick?
Well, if I'm Bill Belichick, I'm starting to panic on my run defense. It needs to show up. And I'm a little concerned about my young quarterback because the last couple of weeks he's turned the ball over.
And who knows, they could still circle around, talk about the Patriots for a rematch with the Colts or the Bills in the playoffs. We will see. In the NFC, the Cowboys are putting together an undefeated December, and tonight they can sweep their division rivals on Sunday Night Football.
Secret weapon, Joe Montana.
He has that it factor. He's a killer.
We're
going to see a new quarterback for the 49ers.
This might be my last chance.
He's called the comeback kid. He's done this before.
Joe Montana, most valuable player.
Joe Montana, cool under pressure, premieres January 6th on Peacock. You can get set up at peacocktv.com, and Joe Cool knows all about putting together championship runs, and that's what the Cowboys envision with this defense. That Dallas D has been the biggest turnaround in the NFL. They went from the bottom of the league to a top 10 unit. So how have they elevated this quickly, though, Rod?
It's been that defensive line. They're healthy. They do a great job of rotating those guys, trying to keep them fresh and keep them healthy. But I got to start with Micah Parsons, man. I play with a lot of great players, and I have not seen anyone play like this kid. This is a motion man-to-man, but look at the instincts and awareness. That's a pick play, and 99% of corners, they won't even pick up on this. And this is a linebacker that plays defensive end. He does it all. He's able to show the awareness, the speed to get there and make it incomplete pass. He's a phenomenal player.
He sure is. And on the back end is Trayvon Diggs, who gets all the shine. His league-leading 10 interceptions. But it still feels like that's only half the story with this secondary.
Yeah, safety Jaron Curse. he's been like the unsung hero for this team. He leads them in tackles. He's 6'4", so he can match up on taller tight ends. He's been great for him.
And J-Ron Kersey was a 7th-round pick. Been mostly a special teams player for his career, but he studied under Harrison Smith as a backup in Minnesota. That knowledge is paying off now. Back over to you, Maria.
Thanks, Jack. Their focus with the mascot on the set is impeccable. It's impressive. But let's switch gears to the Washington football team. They were 2-6 entering the bye week. Then they won 4 straight through weeks 10 through 13, which was impressive. But we've seen the highs, Coach. We've seen the lows. Give me the recipe for success tonight if they want to get a win against Dallas.
Well, on offense, they're playing against a great defense, as Rodney and Jack mentioned. Taylor Heineke, I love him. He improvises. He makes plays. He's got to walk that fine line, be aggressive, but take care of the football against this defense.
And they get Antonio Gibson back tonight. So, you know, that's a big factor for them. During that win streak, he was running the ball very effectively. They were putting together these long drives, these clutch drives to close out games. They're going to need every bit of that tonight.
Yeah, and they're also going to need a guy named Jonathan Allen. If you want Washington to pull off the upset, the defensive tackle, Jonathan Allen, he's going to have something to say about it, and he also has something to say about being a great guy off the field. He's had a big impact in his community, particularly with children in the foster care system. He helped him earn a nomination for the Walter Payton Man of the Year Award. And how about this, guys? The same day he was nominated, Jonathan and his wife Hannah pledged $3 million to local charities.
Nice.
Being the first black female full-time NFL coach is super special to me, and it's very important to do a good job and just to be a good role model and a symbol of representation. I think it's important to have diversity in football, as it's important to have diversity everywhere. You know, there's so many different points of views and backgrounds, and people bring different ideas to the table that are important.
Well, as you just heard Jennifer say, she made history on Tuesday when she became the first African-American female position coach in NFL history. And you can learn more about Jennifer and other inspiring women in the sports world with On Her Turf's Football for All series on NBC Sports. All right, let's get to the highlights.
I like her motion right there. She could throw it.
Way better than you, actually.
Yeah. Great to have you back over here.
The Falcons.
Thank you.
The Falcons. Let's go to the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Yes, nice throw and catch between Matt Ryan and Hayden Hurst.
Hayden Hurst, yes. I mean, Detroit did a great job throughout this football game, hung around, but it was just a little too much Matt Ryan, Cordell Patterson, and you see this late interception by Tim Boyle here, Moran.
Yeah, Boyle was playing for Jared Goff, who was on the COVID list. The Falcons get their first win at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Get excited, Art.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Lions made it tough on them, though.
Okay. Let's talk about the Bears and Seattle Seahawks. Woo. The weather outside was what?
Frightful.
Yes, snowy day in Seattle. Let's go to late in the fourth quarter. Seahawks up 7. Bears trying to stay alive.
Jimmy Graham, jump ball, payback against his old football team, the Seattle Seahawks. Big moment right here. The Seahawks blew so many opportunities, Maria, to kind of control this game, put it away. Now it's 2-point conversion time.
Yeah, let's go for 2 for the win.
Demir Bird gets the 2 feet in. Unbelievable play by him.
Check it out again.
Nick Foles, Old St. Nick, they call him right here on the streets, all right? What a great throw by him there.
I promise that's the last Christmas reference we'll make on tonight's show. The Bears win it 25-24. Huge play by Bird, keeping them alive. And the Seahawks, well, they are no longer alive in the playoff world. They are eliminated from contention. The Jaguars taking on the Jets. Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson. Remember, your number 1 and 2 pick in this year's draft. To the first quarter we go. The rookie Wilson, just check out the wheels on this 52-yard touchdown.
This is the modern-day quarterback, and this is why he was a top 5 pick, or the number 2 pick, because he not only has a great arm, but he, like Trevor Lawrence, can beat you with his arms or his legs. That was a great run.
Longest rush touchdown by a Jets QB in franchise history, but the fourth quarter under 10 to go. That's 4th and goal with that pass.
4th and goal, clutch pass to the extra offensive lineman, McDermott. Great catch by the big guy.
Yeah, career high 91 yards rushing for Wilson. Trevor Lawrence getting a chance to stay alive in the game. 4th and goal. Can't get it to go. He was looking for Marvin Jones. Passes incomplete, so the Jets win it 26-21. A huge win. Obviously, both quarterbacks have had growing pains this year, but the number you want to look at, 2 touchdowns, 0 turnovers for Zach Wilson, and 0 touchdowns and 1 interception. we see there for Trevor Lawrence. So let's walk through some optimism. Give me optimism about the rookie quarterbacks that we just saw facing each other.
Well, let's not write, their future or their history after just watching their rookie year. I mean, like you said, it's going to be up and down. They're on bad football teams. There's a reason they were the number 1 and number 2 pick of the NFL draft. Jacksonville and the Jets don't have a great support system, but what you got to look at is their physical ability. They can do special things, throwing the ball, running the ball. They seem like they can read defenses. So I think the future's bright. Don't look into wins and losses and stats too much when everything around you is not quite that functional at this point of their career.
Okay, we've got a super Jets fan and James Cominsky as a producer, and he's really excited to hear you say that everything's not all bad in the world of the Jets. Meanwhile, coming up, we've got highlights between the Bills and the Patriots, and Bill Belichick, as you might imagine, wasn't in a very festive mood after the game.
Football aside, sorry, but I'm doing a story about New Year's resolutions, and I was just wondering if you had any you wanted to share with your fans and our readers.
Yeah, no, not right now.
This is Football Night in America, served by Applebee's.
Sunday Night Football! Watching.
Well, these fans know that the Cowboys reclaimed the NFC East for the first time since 2018, but that is only where the expectations begin. Before paying Dak Prescott, Jerry Jones built this team around the offensive line, around the run game. So where does the production come from within this Cowboys backfield?
I love both of these running backs, but I think Tony Pollard deserves to get more carries. I think he's the better back. I think he's a lot more explosive. Now, there's some things that Zeke does a great job of. Pass protection, running people over because he's still a big, thick guy, and catching the ball out of the backfield. But if they're talking about their expectations is to be more explosive, get Tony Pollard the ball.
And this extra week turned the season into a marathon, did it? So there's a little added strategy with this 18-week season. Get your best players healthy for January football. Tyron Smith, he could be a perfect example of that. What feels different when he's on the field?
Everything.
Yeah,
everything. The run game, the pass game. Dak Prescott seems like he's a different guy because he has his bully protecting him.
That's right. Seems like he may even come back for this week. They're being patient, though. Tyron Smith's ankle injury could come back as early as next week for that playoff run. Maria, back over to you.
Thanks, Jack, and welcome to everyone who might have been watching the Chiefs rout the Steelers. A great moment in the Panthers game. Greg Olsen's son, TJ, born with a heart condition. He had a transplant in June, and today hitting the drum in Carolina. But that's the best thing that happened to the Panthers all day because it was all Bucs.
Yes, Bucs needed some new people to step up on offense, and they got contributions from a lot of people, Maria.
Yeah, Keyshawn Vaughn there with the 55-yard touchdown. Leonard Fournette, remember, he's out with the hamstring. So Vaughn stepping in. Then Antonio Brown missed the last 8 games due to an ankle sprain and suspension in COVID, but it didn't seem like it.
No, Tom Brady was very intentional getting him involved in the game. 11 targets almost early in the third quarter.
Yeah, he ended up with 15 targets. Brady had 30 attempts, and there's a 22-yard pickup and a touchdown there for Cameron Brate. Yeah, you can spike it just like Gronk.
Even Tom got a kick out of that.
There you go. And the Bucs clinched the NFC South with that win. So these are the replacements because the Bucs lost 57% of their offense with Chris Godwin, Leonard Fournette, and Mike Evans out, and the replacements were able to step up. Let's hear what Antonio Brown had to say when he stepped up to the podium.
I know Coach Arians had told you when you came to this team, you screw up one time and you're done. And some people would deem what happened as a screw up, but Coach Arians stood by your side and he brought you back. Just what did it mean for you after being here for a year to have a coach standing in your corner?
Next question. We just want to talk about this game. We don't want to waste no time with you guys writing in bogus.
Respectfully, Antonio, we haven't talked to you yet. We haven't talked to you.
I don't want to talk about that. You guys is all drama. It's all about football. We didn't talk about Carolina. I don't want to talk to you guys.
Well, Antonio Brown is a great football player, and I think he's going to be the key to the Bucs repeating if they do get another Super Bowl. But his middle name is Drama, so that's always going to be a storyline with him.
Yeah, bottom line is I think it's impossible to totally replace a guy like Chris Godwin in his contributions, both blocking in the run game and his ability to work the middle of the field. You don't just replace that, but I think that's certainly going to elevate Antonio Brown's role in this offense and some of those young receivers.
And you could see that today as Tom Brady just down after down going to Brown, getting him back involved in the offense. Very intentional.
Yeah, so remember Chris Godwin out with an ACL tear, and he was the number one receiver there for the Bucs, but they're still rolling without him. As for the Panthers, not rolling at all. Today was their 5th straight loss, and afterwards, head coach Matt Rule had some pretty interesting things to say.
I believe it's 1,000% working. I just know no one can see it, and I apologize. As I tell our team all the time, it took Jay-Z like 7 years. It took him 7 years. He had to start his own agency to become famous, to become an overnight sensation. Like, it takes time.
Well, Mike Florio, I would say Matt Rule has 99 problems, and being an overnight sensation is not one of them. But please, break down what you're hearing about Matt Rule and the Carolina Panthers coaching situation.
You don't get 7 years in the NFL to figure it out. And this year, for the first time ever, starting on Tuesday of this week, if you have a coaching vacancy, you can start interviewing assistant coaches from other teams with the permission of those teams. So we need to be watching multiple teams tomorrow for the possibility that coaches will be fired. And we know that Panthers owner David Tepper wants to have a great quarterback, a great coach, and a great GM. And we've seen what they've done over the past couple of years when it comes to quarterbacks, one after another, in and out. You have to wonder, in less than 2 years, has Tepper come to the conclusion that Rule isn't going to be a great coach? There were some fans chanting, "Fire Rule," today at the game. If David Tepper was listening, that's a team to definitely watch tomorrow.
Thanks, Mike. Well, we are still awaiting the kickoff of our last game of the night. We've got Washington and Dallas getting set to play each other for the second time in 3 weeks. Zeke the Freak, yeah, he'll be ready to roll.
Celebrating the victory, presented by Allstate.
We're going to win this game. I'm confident in that.
I think that's the big mistake.
Win your battle. This is our division.
Back to throw. Shot back. Pass it. That would be a Dallas touchdown. Let's go! Look at this. Pick 6! Touchdown! Back is Allen. Pressure. Dallas has recovered. There's your ball game. We won Dallas!
Football Night in America is brought to you by Applebee's Holiday Gift Cards and by Allstate. Save money like a champion with Allstate.
Well, if you haven't heard of this guy, you're going to hear about him this segment. Micah Parsons, what? This is him back in high school? I mean, dunking like Drew Brees? No, not actually. Drew probably has a good three-point shot. Wrestler, football player, does it all. I mean, truly one of the great specimens in our sport. And then bowling. Didn't even look like he had the fingers in the holes there. Just spun it with his hand, right?
Had the hook, though.
Yeah, had the hook. The natural athlete right there. And now, you know, it's time for PointsBet Pulse. You could see this. To win Defensive Rookie of the Year, minus 50,000 of the odds, which means his name is already on the trophy, so there's no point in betting on that. Win Defensive Player of the Year? I like his chances. I don't know.
I'm a believer.
You're a believer there, too,
I'm
right?
A believer.
We are. I mean, all the things that Micah Parsons does for this defense, we know Dallas, they got the offensive stars, but this defense has stars all over, and their defensive line is where it's really special. Dominated the first matchup against Washington a few weeks ago, and that's why me and Drew are here. We're going to break down what they do so good on this defensive side.
Yeah, and it's hard to believe Micah Parsons' versatility, especially as a rookie, but in many cases, he's an off-the-ball linebacker who is involved in a lot of their pressure packages. Hopefully, you don't have a running back blocking this guy. Good luck, because even offensive linemen have trouble.
Yeah, he is a tough matchup. Washington couldn't block this group all game long. And you worry about Micah Parsons, you got to worry about these two studs on the edge, too. DeMarcus Lawrence, Randy Gregory were all over the Washington quarterbacks in the first matchup, let alone strip-sacked Antonio Gibson one time and picked off a pass from Heineke. So they are extremely talented. Now, download the PointsBet app and get betting options you won't find anywhere else. Maria, over to you.
Only Micah Parsons can make QB1 and 2 talk defense. Congratulations, guys. You did it. Giants taking on the Eagles. Jake Fromm making his first career start, and he's intercepted.
Yes, he had a tough day. Philadelphia defense got after him. early and often.
This would lead to an Eagles touchdown. The Giants offense just 10 points, 192 total yards on the day. So the defense was eating and dancing. Jalen Hurts, meanwhile, he's going to find his favorite target, Devontae Smith.
Just brings so many options down there in the red zone, and Smith is really, really a talented young receiver.
The play was reviewed. The call was upheld. It is a touchdown. I think they just couldn't believe their eyes.
Kept his heel off the ground.
Toe tag swag, I think is what they call it. Eagles led it 20-3 after that. Jalen Hurts is feeling it. Philly would run away with it after this. Hurts to get to his tackle, Lane Johnson, a 5-yard touchdown. Great story, though. Johnson missed 3 games earlier this season while dealing with anxiety and depression. Gets his first career touchdown and the Santa Philly, their 3rd straight win. Los Angeles Rams. Oh, wait, I can't get started. There's a Corgi and there's a Santa. That was the halftime show in Minnesota. Let's see what the Rams had for us. Stafford intercepted by Anthony Barr. 2 interceptions for Stafford.
Rams were dominating the game, but those turnovers turned it into a close game.
Then an opportunity to get a non-offensive touchdown. It's Brandon Powell on the return, and he's gone, Coach.
Yeah, short punt. I think everyone thought he was going to fair catch it. He took it up the sidelines to the house.
And flipped into the end zone. He called it. The Rams back up 10, 4th quarter. Rams up 7. Stafford finding Odell Beckham Jr., 7-yard touchdown.
And this was a sweet move in the back of the end zone, and Beckham, he brings some swag to that team.
Yeah, and now the Rams clinch a berth for the 4th time in 5 years under Sean McVay. But the question is, what do they do best? We saw Stafford with his first 3 interception game since 2018. They still get the win, but what does a complete Rams team look like?
Yeah, when they're at their best, they're pounding the football and then taking advantage with play-action passes. I think sometimes you can fall in the trap. Oh, we've got Matthew Stafford, we've got OBJ, we've got Kupp. We can throw it all over the place, and they can. But when they're really effective, get that running game going early, and they got it today.
Yeah, Rams currently at the 7 seed, and we're still waiting for that complete game from them. But now it's time to simplify the game, powered by Microsoft Surface. We go back to QB1 and 2, Chris and Drew.
Yeah, well, Maria, we're going to look at Jalen Hurts and what he did with his Philadelphia offense. Eagles offense, Drew and I would agree. I mean, if not the best running game in football, certainly top 2 or 3. They are dominant, but they're not a one-trick pony. And if you overplay the run, they showed today they can beat you with the pass game and some big plays.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of maturation from Jalen Hurts here throughout the season. Here he's got 4 verticals, but what does he do? He pumps inside to the tight end in order to get a one-on-one matchup outside to Devontae Smith.
Really nice. And then when you overplay, put an extra safety in the box, stop the run game on a 2nd and 1. I mean, Hurts can throw the ball down the field, and they got weapons with Watkins, Smith, Rieger. They can catch these 50-50 type balls down the field. It makes them really dangerous. And they're a team, I don't know. I wouldn't want to see them in the playoffs with their big playability and the way they run the ball. Did have a big injury to a running back today. For more now on that, over to Mike Florio.
Yeah, guys, I'm told that running back Miles Sanders, the fear is he suffered a fractured hand in today's win over the Giants. He'll have more tests tomorrow. If it is fractured, he could miss a couple of weeks. They've got a few big games coming up as they try to make an unlikely playoff push, and he is their leading rusher.
All right, well, Philly has Washington next week. Tonight, the Cowboys have the Washington football team. Dak Prescott and those boys clinched the NFC East earlier today, which means that this is now the 17th consecutive season without a repeat champion in the division. The last team to win the division in consecutive years, that would be the Eagles, who won 4 straight from 2001 to 2004.
Simplify the game, powered by Microsoft Surface, the official sideline technology provider of the NFL.
It's a homecoming. You know what that means? To the house. I need it all. He's got it. That should put this game on ice.
Gasoline in my veins, beat the fuel through my pain.
Fires, caught, and out of a tackle, and into the end zone.
As we rise from the flames.
It's a trade.
This is Football Night in America, served by Applebee's.
The
The people of Dallas have been daydreaming of another Super Bowl run since 1995, and anticipation is high with this current group. Amari Cooper told us it's the deepest and most talented team that he's ever played on. So, Rod, what do you think of their Super Bowl chances with 3 games now until the playoffs?
I agree with Amari Cooper. I think this team is deep at every single position, and I believe that they can go to Tampa, they can go to Green Bay, they can go anywhere in the National Football League and win and go to the Super Bowl.
That's saying something right there. There's a great matchup on the outside as well. Terry McLaurin, Trayvon Diggs. Scary Terry's our Sunday Night 7. How many receptions and receiving yards tonight?
Yeah, I feel bad for Terry McLaurin because he's always had to play with garbage quarterbacks, and he's a top 10 receiver in talent. But I will say 5 receptions between 65 and 84 yards.
There is $1 million on the line. You can make your picks along with us on the NBC Sports Predictor app. Maria, we'll send it back over to you.
All right, thanks, Jack. Chris, let's get back into the highlights.
Let's do it.
The Broncos going on the road to take on the Raiders. Derek Carr looking for Josh Jacobs. He gets Bradley Chubb. He's intercepted.
Yeah, you don't want to throw to that team. That's not what you're trying to do. But yeah, 2 late turnovers in the first half by the Raiders offense set up the Broncos for 10 points here. Great play by Bradley Chubb.
Yep, set up Javonte Williams touchdown. The Broncos led it 13-7 at the half, and then it was all Vegas in the second half.
It was Vegas. They really controlled the pace and flow of this football game throughout. It was Raiders turnovers that kept the Broncos in this. Peyton Barber with a nice run here.
Yep, Raiders would lead at 14-13 there. Then the fourth quarter, Broncos need a stop to extend the game. Can't get it.
Great play right there by Greg Olson, offensive coordinator, calling that. Everybody expecting the short yardage run. Gets the tight end deep down the middle.
2 big wins in 6 days this week. They defeated the Browns 16-14 on Monday. All right, the Chargers taking on the Texans. Justin Herbert looking to bounce back from that loss against the Chiefs. Herbert, though, intercepted by Jonathan Owens on this play. And Owens also had a fumble recovery today.
Well, yeah, I mean, Texans D played good, but he's got a laser. We know that.
And he's got an awesome girlfriend. 7-time Olympic medalist Simone Biles was in the building, so he was playing some.
Well, Herbert wanted to make her feel good, so good job by Justin Herbert.
Davis Mills was feeling good too. 3rd-round draft pick gets it to Chris Connolly for the 41-yard touchdown. Texas leads 17-12.
Played great today, Maria. Throughout the game, Davis Mills, the Texans running game, it was all working for them. They outplayed the Chargers. This wasn't some upset or fluke.
Sure.
They legitimately won this one.
Yeah, Herbert is intercepted. It's a pick 6 by Thomas. The 48-yard return is good for a touchdown. Yeah, dance away. 41-23 is the victory. And Herbert now with 2 straight losses with the Chargers. Pittsburgh taking on Kansas City. They're on their own, and Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, they can clinch the AFC West with a win. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he'll get a touchdown run is good.
Yeah, big run right there. Not a big guy, but he runs with power and he can move the pile. Way to lower that shoulder, gets them in the end zone, gets the Chiefs off to a really good early start.
He did leave the game in the 3rd quarter with a collarbone. We'll try to get updates on that. Meanwhile, Mahomes to Mecole Hardman, 8-yard touchdown.
Weapons galore. Travis Kelce was happy, Maria, at home.
Yeah, he was out with COVID, but he was watching his boys roll. He was live tweeting the game. 3rd quarter, Mahomes is not done yet. Byron Pringle.
Why be done? It's only 23-0. Let's go. They got to get themselves polished for the playoffs, and they were looking good today. Maybe one of their best offensive performances of the whole year, Maria.
Yeah, the Chiefs get the win. It's been impressive. They clinched the AFC West for the 6th straight season. And when this year started, it didn't look like the Chiefs team we were used to seeing. They had to go through some ups and downs.
Yeah.
What have you seen as of late, though?
Well, I think the biggest thing is we know the defense has been awesome the last 6 or 7 weeks. I mean, dominant awesome. You can't score touchdowns. They make a lot of plays. But what's scary right now is here comes the offense, which Mahomes, like you said, the offense itself was all over the place for a period of time during the middle of the season. But last few weeks, he's playing smarter football, accurate with all his throws, good decision-making. No Travis Kelce today, and still move the ball at will. That's Pittsburgh. But we saw, the Titans had problems with last week. So watch out. The Chiefs are scary again. Shocker.
Okay, what else is scary is the fact that the Chargers have lost 2 straight, and they're coming off a loss to the Texans. Drew, coach, make sense of it all.
Yeah, we used to talk about the Chargers this way, up and down. We thought they were coming out of it, went toe-to-toe with Kansas City last week, and now you're playing Houston. You allow Rex Burkhead to go for 149 yards. Come on, we got to play better in these type of games.
Yeah, you can't have letdowns like that. And really, the last 5 weeks for them defensively, I think they're near the bottom of the league in regards to rushing yards allowed and big plays given up. And you're just not going to win that way. And sure enough, it's moved them completely out of the playoff picture as of right now.
Now they've got 2 weeks that really must-win games coming up, Maria.
All right, Coach. Thanks, Drew. And meanwhile, the Cowboys, they're on nightcap, taking on the Washington football team. Just a couple of weeks ago, they got the win, but it was only by a score. They're getting set to kick it off in Dallas.
Welcome to the Hyundai Sunday Night Kickoff.
Jerry World in Arlington, Texas. It might actually be the happiest place on earth because today the Cowboys clinched the NFC East, so now they're eyeing that #1 seed. And tonight they have the Washington football team. We're getting closer and closer to kickoff. So let's go ahead and go on the field, presented by Hyundai. And let's start with the Cowboys quarterback, Drew.
Yeah, Dak Prescott, he said last week he wants to win that bet against his defense. That bet is who's gonna score more touchdowns by the offense or turnovers by the defense. The defense won last week. The offense is going to need to play a little bit better this week. Dak has all his weapons back, but I can tell you what, he loves how his defense is playing right now. And Coach, I know the Washington has somebody on their side of the ball that you like.
Yeah, I saw Taylor Heineke live last year calling their playoff game, and I love his game. He's a playmaker. He can improvise. He's got to be aggressive tonight, Maria, but he's got to take care of the football against that ball-hawking defense Drew talked about.
Yeah, Heineke missed the game at Philly on Tuesday due to the COVID protocols, so we'll see him back in action here tonight and see if he can get into a rhythm. Let's get back into our highlights rhythm. Yeah. Let's go Baltimore, taking on Cincinnati, the big play Bengals. Let's see what they have against the Ravens. Already have one victory. Josh Johnson is getting the start at quarterback. Lamar Jackson and Tyler Huntley both out. And the Bengals up 3 in the second. Burrow, Tyler Boyd.
And Josh Johnson was not the problem. It was pass defense for the Baltimore Ravens. There were wide open guys all day today.
The second straight game with a touchdown for Boyd. Late in the first half, the Bengals up 10. Burrow, T. Higgins.
Yes, just throw it up. Now, this is one of the few times he was covered, but T. Higgins got the ball and made a play, against double coverage.
A double coverage, no problem for T. Higgins. He goes up, high points the ball, brings it down, and a few plays later, Burrow's like, you know what, I'm going to go back to you because you did so great with the double coverage.
Ravens, a lot of injuries in their secondary, and it showed up today. Just had trouble matching up with these receivers.
So everyone gets in on the gritty, then late in the fourth, Burrow deep to Joe Mixon for 52 yards.
Even running backs going deep. I don't know. I just throw to the open guy.
Right.
Yeah, look at Harbaugh. I don't think he liked that play. I mean, you already were going to win the game, Coach. It's 41-21. Why'd you have to go for it? 4th most passing yards in a single game in NFL history for Joe Burrow. Just putting the lights out tonight against the Ravens. And that's the most pass yards in a single game in NFL history. So he surpasses Norman Brocklin, Matt Schwab, and Warren Moon. And let's hear what Joe Burrow had to say after the huge performance.
Did you see the comments this week from Wink Martindale about not giving you a gold jacket just yet?
Yeah, I did.
Did that mean anything to you at all? Did it resonate with you at all?
I didn't think it was a necessary comment. I wouldn't say I was offended by it. I mean, I'm in year 2. Who knows what's going to happen down the road, but I didn't think it was a necessary comment.
Was it on your mind when you were throwing at the end for 525?
Maybe.
Maybe the 4th most passing yards in a single game in NFL history, and maybe it was on his mind. Mark Floria, I know you had a chance to catch up with Burrow after the game.
Yeah, that's right. I asked him when it became evident that they had a chance to get to 500. He said sometime in the 4th quarter they realized they had a shot, and they went for it. And he makes no apologies for getting to that mark. He told me, this is the NFL. This isn't Pee Wee. This isn't high school. You play until the final whistle. I don't care what the score is. We've been in spots where teams go out and do that to us. They did it to us last year. No sympathy from me.
All right, well, how about this? The big play Bengals just have to win one of their 2 remaining games, and they'll clinch the AFC North. I mean, it's been impressive. I know they say who dey, but who are the Bengals? Like, what's impressed you most about the way they've been able to play so far this season?
Yeah, it's must-see football. I mean, these guys are exciting to watch. They're making big plays all over the place, passing game, running the ball with Joe Mixon. Really, what gets them in trouble is when they've turned the ball over. But otherwise, it is exciting to watch, and if they can take care of the football, continue to make those explosive plays. Bottom line is, it looks like they're having fun out there too.
They are. They're very explosive. We've seen 3 or 4 games like this where we're about to say this is the best team in the AFC North, and then they'll come out with one of those bad games. Well, they've got Kansas City next week in a really, really big game. I want to see if they can show up, if they're ready for the big stage.
Well, the Bengals have not made the playoffs since 2015, but they're acting like they've been there, so that'll be a great game to watch against the Chiefs next week. All right, we got one more highlight for you. It's Buffalo, it's New England, and Buffalo looking for revenge. Remember, they lost on a cold and wet day in Buffalo to the Patriots earlier this season, and the Bills up 3 after going for it on 4th and 2. Josh Allen is looking for his guy. Stephon Diggs is there.
Yeah, Sean McDermott, the coach, was very aggressive all day today. He said, we're not settling for field goals. We're going after it. Went for it on 4th down numerous times.
Yeah, 3 for 4 on 4th down today. 3 plays later, Allen to Diggs again.
Yeah, laser beam right on the money, and Diggs had something to say to the fans.
He did. He said, you, please be quiet. That's what he said, okay? Later in the 3rd quarter, Mac Jones now, he's going to get a little bit of time to put on a show, and he's got to buy some time to get this throw off to Jacoby Myers.
Patriots could see their defense was not stopping Buffalo. They started going for it on 4th down 4 times on this drive.
Yeah, and they were 5 for 6 on 4th down today. Damian Harris banging it in for the 1-yard touchdown. The Patriots make it 20-14 there. The Bills, they have an answer on the next drive.
They did. Really came out, played aggressively, pounded it in, got that 2-score lead back.
Yeah, by Devin Singletary. Then the Patriots coming right back at him. Damian Harris, look at this, coach.
Great effort, great energy, score, get it close now. Buffalo has to answer.
Yes, a 5-point deficit now for New England. 4th quarter, the Bills still up 5. It's 4th and 1. Allen running for it, looking for the 1st down.
And making it happen. Didn't want to kick the field goal and have an 8-point lead. Go for it and try to close the game out.
I'm calling that play the Josh Allen juke. And later in the drive, 3rd and 10 for Buffalo. Allen shovel pass is good to Diggs, and again they connect.
Yeah, and Josh Allen made these plays all day long. The crucial plays, 3rd and 4th down on the scrambles, making it happen. He was fantastic.
Yes, definitely putting the cape on, being Superman. Then Allen finding Dawson Knox for the 2-yard touchdown to seal it. Allen's 314 passing yards and 3 touchdowns today were good enough for the win. Have you ever seen this before, Coach?
Not very often at Gillette Stadium, yes. Not very often.
So the Bills retake the lead in the AFC East, and they're in the driver's seat for the division title. And now Josh Allen, take a look there, 64 rushing yards. That was leading the team. It's the 7th time he's had to do that so far this season, which has been impressive if you add it to that 314 passing yards. All right, Chris. You know what time it is. Time for the Sunday Night Game Flow presented by Progressive.
Yeah, you know what time it is. It's more Josh Allen time is what it is. He's the greatest one-man show in the sport right now. I mean, come on. Going into New England, hey, the Patriots are famous for let's take away the thing that you do best. Well, you can't take away Josh Allen. There's just what defense can defend this? Oh, that play, the run to the right for 30 yards and throw the ball across your body 20 yards? Oh, let me do it again. You could have the perfect defense called, and you can't stop Josh Allen. His physical ability to buy time in the pocket, and then, of course, these special throws. And then what was this play you called, Maria? The Josh Allen juke? Yeah. I mean, again, 4th and 1, 3rd and 15. Get the ball in Josh Allen's hands. He's hard to stop.
All right, that was the Sunday Night Game Flow presented by Progressive. And I know that we all have our eyes on Josh Allen, but Drew, sometimes that concerns you.
Yeah, when Buffalo is on, they're on. But it is so quarterback-centric, and it does rely on Josh Allen to play extremely well. Run around and scramble and lead your team in rushing and make these amazing throws across the middle that you would never teach your kid to do, but he does. And it's unfortunate because they're streaky because of that and inconsistent. They'll have a few games where all that's working and it's great, and then a couple games where it's not. But I do feel like there was a turning point for them when they played the Bucs. Even though they lost in the second half of that game, they completely flipped around and really put themselves in a position to win after they were down 24-3. So if they can continue to play the way they're playing right now, look out, because they're one of the most dangerous teams in the league.
And then on the other side of the field, let's look at the Patriots. We're not used to teams going in winning big games in Gillette Stadium in December, but the Patriots, Defensively, I'm a little concerned because what do we always say? Well, Bill Belichick, he takes away what you do best. Last week, we knew the Colts were going to go in and run the ball. They didn't take that away. This week, Buffalo is going to throw the ball. They're not a running team. They didn't take that away. That's not the kind of defense I'm used to seeing from the Patriots.
Yeah, it's not what we're used to seeing from the Patriots. And you're not used to seeing the fans leaving early from Gillette Stadium, but somehow the Bills were able to pull it off and get the victory on the road. All right, we're getting set for kickoff in Arlington. And how good is the Cowboys rookie linebacker, Micah Parsons? Pretty amazing. Tonight, he leads that Dallas defense against Ron Rivera and the Washington football team, who are looking to just stay in the playoff mix. Sunday Night Football coming up on NBC. The countdown is on. The Washington football team headed back into the locker room. Less than 10 minutes until they get set to take on the Dallas Cowboys. And look who's in Jerry World. Who's in the house? Roger Staubach. He's wearing a Christmas sweater. I love the dedication to the holidays. Yes, it's just the day after Christmas. And now we got the best of Week 16. Coach, let's start with Jacksonville taking on the Jets.
Yes, battle of the number 1 and 2 picks, quarterbacks, and number 2 pick, Zach Wilson, got the best of it today. And watch this run. Hey, I might run out of bounds. Don't hit me. Oh, I might run out of bounds again.
Don't hit me. 52 yards and a touchdown. The longest run by a quarterback in Jets history. New York Giants taking on Philly. The Eagles really rolled in the second half.
Yeah, perhaps the best run offense in the league, but today it was all about the passing game. Even throwing touchdowns to offensive tackles.
Yes. Shout out to Lane Johnson for the touchdown. Eagles staying alive in the playoffs. And then you have to rely on the replacements if you're Tampa Bay taking on the Panthers.
Yes, a lot of their weapons hurt. Cameron Brate stepped up along with Antonio Brown.
And they clinched their first NFC South title since 2007. Rams taking on Minnesota, Drew.
Yeah, the Rams had to overcome 3 turnovers today, but some big plays with Cooper Kupp late in the fourth quarter and OBJ.
Impressive win by the Rams. Meanwhile, the Chargers, impressive loss, I guess, to Houston.
Justin Herbert was off today. The defense couldn't stop them. The Houston Texans just thoroughly outplayed them.
Yes, the 3-11 Texans are now 4-11. That's 2 straight losses for the Chargers, and one that they're certainly going to have to spend a lot of time watching film on. Denver taking on Vegas, 2 AFC West teams in playoff contention.
Yeah, if you want to watch close games this year, just turn on the Raiders. It seems like every week they're in one of these types of games, but they won it today. Big win at home.
Okay, Bills, a little bit of revenge they get in the AFC East matchup.
Yeah, Josh Allen was great, and the Buffalo defense did a great job.
314 passing yards and 3 touchdowns for Allen. Baltimore on the road taking on the big play Bengals.
Yeah, sometimes you wonder how guys get this wide open, but they did today for the Bengals. 525 passing yards by Joe Burrow, and no love lost in this rivalry.
Not at all. Meanwhile, Pittsburgh taking on Kansas City, and really just the Chiefs dominating this game.
Yes, and we were worried about the Chiefs. How are they going to score without Travis Kelce? Well, let the defense set up.
Not a problem. And remember, Patrick Mahomes is still Mahomes. 3 passing touchdowns for him as the Chiefs clinch their 6th straight division title, and the Chiefs still the number 1 seed in the AFC with an impressive win, 36-10 against the Steelers. So, I wonder what all of the best of Week 16 actually means for us. The good news is we have Steve Kornacki here to break it all down. Steve?
Well, Maria, you start with the Chiefs. You just mentioned there, as you can see, top of the conference in the driver's seat for that number 1 seed, a game up on Tennessee. The other big shakeup toward the top here, you can see Buffalo, the win over New England. Buffalo has that tiebreaker right now in the AFC East. It's the Bills now in the 4th spot in the AFC. It's the Patriots down here in the 6th spot. They're in wild card territory. You see the Colts and the Pats right now would be in excellent position to get wild cards. But where this thing gets crazy, take a deep breath here, because it's that Baltimore. Baltimore right now would be in the number 7 spot at 8-7. But Baltimore, and you can go all the way down to Denver in 13th place. You have 7 teams that are within 1 game of that 7 spot right now. So you can see in terms of the probability of making the playoffs, the 3, 8, and 7 teams, Baltimore, the Chargers, and Vegas, have the best odds of getting there. These other teams, to some degree or another, are all still in the mix. And the biggest single variable right now, the Miami Dolphins. They play tomorrow night against New Orleans. They're 7-7. If the Dolphins win that game, the Dolphins, at least for the moment, will jump Baltimore, move into the number 7 spot in the playoffs. playoff race, and their chances of making it, I don't know if you can read that, but it's 25%. The Dolphins, if they win tomorrow, a 1-in-4 shot of making the playoffs.
And remember, they lost their first 7 games. Those numbers were all courtesy of Pro Football Focus. What's your biggest takeaway with the playoff picture right now, Drew?
Yeah, I think it's the disappointment of the Chargers. You know, feeling like this was a game today that they just had to have, and everyone expected them to win so they could solidify themselves into that wild card position. But now they don't control their own destiny. They potentially have Miami and Baltimore in front of them that if one of those teams wins out, then they're not going to have a shot at it. But I still think there's going to be some fireworks, but they certainly made it harder on themselves these last 2 weeks.
And I'll pivot to the NFC side. A month ago, I don't know if anybody was talking about Philadelphia. Now they put themselves in position. They win their last 2 games. They are in the playoffs.
Will make the playoffs if they win out, which could be impressive. Drew Brees, though, he's already in the playoffs if you look at our Sunday Night Football crew and team, because he's the one who knows how to pick every single game. I got to show you what happened to us last week.
Overtime Brady and the Bucks.
The Bucks, I agree with what he said.
I do too. I like the Bucks.
I like the Bucks.
It's going to be Tampa Bay.
I'm going to pick the Bucks also.
I will not make the mistake that all of you are making right now. I'm taking the Saints. Who that, baby?
Oh, okay. And here we are again, celebrating Drew Brees and his ability to pick
And those Saints fans just wanted to humor him. Hopefully they could talk him back into playing, but that's not going to work. He's not
Well, they beat him 9-0. I appreciate the number shout out there with number 9.
Yes. Okay, Drew is our QB1 now. He's not going anywhere, okay? It's time now for our home team picks brought to you by Lowe's. And to start us all out, we send it to Jack Collinsworth in Arlington.
Yeah, Maria, looking to avoid becoming a meme this weekend. 75% of the country's on Dallas as division rivals link up for the second time in 3 weeks. Cowboys have been on a December heater. DeMarcus Lawrence got him teaming up with Randy Gregory, Micah Parsons as well. And they're still waiting to pair that defense with Dak Prescott's best form. I'm taking the Cowboys, Rod. You?
Thank you, finally.
Who you going with?
I think Amari Cooper's going to have a huge night tonight. I'm picking the Cowboys. Florio, back to you.
Who you going with?
I got to go with the Cowboys. They have got, though, to wake up their offense, Chris. They've got to get it ready. Big games coming, Cardinals and Eagles, and then the playoffs. I hope to see a better brand of offense tonight from Dallas.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Too many stars on that offense to be sputtering the way they have been. But nonetheless, even if they do sputter, the defense is full of stars, too. I'm going with the Cowboys as well.
Guys, it's not looking good for us. I'm going to go with the Cowboys, too.
I love Taylor Heineke, and he can make plays, but I just think the Dallas defense is going to be too strong tonight.
You know, they say that the most desperate team usually wins. But I'm also going with the Cowboys.
You almost had me, Drew. I was like, wait, is he going to do it?
It was all a setup.
We're counting on you.
Well, we'll see whether or not that Dallas offense really gets rolling. We know the defense is going to be there. Trayvon Diggs, Micah Parsons, they're all ready to take on the Washington football team. You just watched the home team picks by Lowe's, and we are ready to go now in Dallas. The Cowboys wrapped up the division today, so all eyes on the #1 seed in the NFC. It's Washington next. Al, Chris, and Michelle after Carrie Underwood.
This has been the Hyundai Sunday Night Kickoff. Spanish language audio provided by Telemundo Deportes, or watch tonight's game in Spanish on Universo.